the first proper concert I went to when I was old enough to go on my own was Oasis at Irvine Beach in 1995. So I just turned 15, and I only got the ticket because my big brother had a new girlfriend, and she wanted to go to the cinema, so I got his ticket.
Idiot.
So we drove through to Irvine Beach, and then all his mates were like, "You can piss off. You're 15. You're not hanging about with us." So I ended up in the middle of this massive pit of lunatics right as they were becoming famous. 95, right? So it was happening then. And I told him, I was like, "Oh God, one of the best nights of my life was at Irvine Beach." And he went, "You weren't there." And I was like, "I was fucking there." And then we ended up drinking that night. And he's like, "Listen, we're going out on Thursday. Do you fancy coming out?" I was like, "All right." And that was it. I was on the firm. And again, I had some of the best nights of my life with him. Like,
What's he like? Underneath all that bravado and like some of the interviews that him and his brother did, just on YouTube again popping up.
I mean, you've got to be on your fucking toes, right? He's a formidable human being.
Smart.
Oh God, yeah, sharp as a fucking tack, right? Bear in mind he had a really tough upbringing. His mum worked in the Jaffa Cake factory, the McVitie's factory, and come home with offcuts of Jaffa cakes, and that's what they'd eat. And there were no carpets in the house at one point, and his dad was tough. He's had to watch. I mean, Noel had a bit of a stutter, I think, because his dad used to leather him when he was a kid.
Really?
And when he gets nervous, you sometimes hear it when he's speaking. And so he's had a tough upbringing. And I always used to find it, because I'd talk about my dad and how brilliant he was, and sometimes I'd kind of pull back on it because I don't think he had that when he was younger. But he's brilliant to me. He went to his 40th, which was unbelievable, his 50th, which is one of the best weekends of my life. It was just so special.
I bet it was.
Fucking amazing experience.
Did he sing or not?
No, he didn't sing. No, the Cuban Brothers performed. Who else? Bono did a thing on stage.
Really?
And it's surreal because me and Kate are standing there, and you've got Bono's like, "Are these fucking lads really from Cuba?" And I'm like, "No, he's from Edinburgh." And Woody Harrelson's there, and Madonna turned up, just gate crashed the party, and Bob Geldof was there, and Russell Brand, and it was an amazing. And the music was brilliant. They properly chucked money at it, so everyone had a great time. My missus had an amazing. We had such a good laugh. And I went to his wedding as well, which ended up in the Daily Mirror because I ended up in the duck pond in the hotel, and somebody reported it. Somebody phoned the Mirror and said Noel Gallagher's wedding ends with idiots in the duck pond at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Did they name drop you?
No, it was me. It was me. But when you do something daft when you're drunk and think, "Fuck, this is really dangerous." But they had the netting in the duck pond, and I got my ankles caught in it. And I thought, this is a classic idiot drowns at rock star's wedding situation.
Not a bad way to. Are you too young?
Too young.
Yeah.
And I probably would have been 27 as well. That classic age. But and listen, the last few years I haven't seen him that much, and I really pissed him off on a night out, and I think he just had enough of me because
really?
Just everybody got leathered, and I was to blame for loads of people getting on his bus and glasses got smashed, and it was a bit of an intrusion because he was meant to go to a gig down south, and suddenly he's got all these idiot Scottish strangers on his bus, and it was my fault, and his missus was livid about it because she wasn't there. And anyway, things went a bit cold, and it does tend to happen when like people end up in Siberia, we call it, where you're in the bad books for a while, and I don't know, we'll see if I emerge from the other side or not, but I can't fault the guy for the amazing experiences he gave me. Like, he took me for 2 nights to U2 at Wembley, and man, it was fucking amazing. Standing watching U2, and he's saying, this bit of this song, and talking to me about, when he wrote that, and we ended up in the dressing room after, and Roman Abramovich was there, and he was like, we were pissed, and he said, "Come on, we'll go and noise up Abramovich," which sounds like an amazing idea when you're steaming. And he had this, I think his wife was called Dasha Zukova, and she translated for him, although I'm pretty sure he could speak English. And I think City must have just been bought by the Sheikh Mansour, and Noel's gone across, and everyone shakes hands, and Noel says to Dasha Zukova, "Can you tell him that Man City have got more money than his mob?" So she's like, she giggles and she tells him, and Abramovich just looks at him and goes, "Huh, really?" And pulls a wallet from his pocket and just slapped him on the face. But when a slap's more than a slap, and I was like, fucking hell, that was pretty aggressive.
Wow. At that point, he was one of the most powerful men in the world, wasn't he?
I mean, Noel will probably remember this differently because we were pissed. And listen, what was it they say? Recollections may vary. But my recollection of it was a guy with an earpiece coming over saying, "Mr. Smart, Mr. Gallagher," in a Russian accent.
It's time.
And we got moved aside. And I've got like so many experiences. And then we went back to Claridge's because U2 had a suite, and Noel and Sarah had fucked off home, and it just left me and his mate Scully in this room with like Salman Rushdie and fucking Bob Geldof, all of U2. And I remember telling them a story and realising I had quite an impressive audience about me having a fight with Robbie Williams. And they're like, go on, tell a fucking story. What happened? And I'm fucking telling this, like, holding this room, and Scully's just like, this is fucking surreal. And I remember that night leaving Claridge's, having a fire extinguisher fight with Scully down the corridors of the one of the poshest hotels in London. And I look back on it and think, fucking hell, what an amazing experience all of that was.
I mean, people listen to this, it almost sounds like unbelievable.
Aye, and I'd love to write a book about it, but again, it would get me in so much trouble. My parents would be so disappointed in me.
50, that's the time.
Is it 50?
Yeah, I reckon 50 would be all right. You can be forgiven then, because it can almost be made up, can't it?
Yeah. And I owe an awful lot to Noel, because he also gave me a blessing to other people. And went, he's all right, you can trust him.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So, that opened so many doors for me, because he was, he was all right. And again, like, in all fairness, he didn't get a bad deal out of it, right? In terms of coverage of him in the paper. And people always say Gordon Smart's, up his arse and all the rest of it. But
I'll be up his arse.
He was sound to me. Yeah,
no problem.
You can only treat people as they treat you.
Very true.
And like Bono gets a kick in, doesn't he, for thinking he's God and all that. What a lovely human being. He's been again wonderful to me. I'm fascinated by him. I mean, they are one of the best bands ever. So yeah, you just got to take them as you find them, Jim, is what I'm saying. And you'll be the same in your game.
Are they getting back together? Can you see it happening?
I can now, yeah.
You can?
Yeah, possibly.
Because of what? Because of money, or just because they're absolute legends together?
Domestic relations.
They're not the same, are they? They're not the same.
Well, Noel made a really good point recently. He said, never say never. And a lot of bands that come back need to come back because they've got unfinished business. So the Stone Roses, for instance, never realised the potential and have done it now. Playing Wembley dates and Heaton Park 4 nights on the bounce or whatever it was. They needed to do that for their own sanity. Oasis did it. They smashed it. They fucking ran it. And I think the thought for him of going on the road with Liam again, this is just me surmising, it isn't a good experience for him. Because, like, Liam is, as Noel says, a man with a fork and a world of soup. He gets wound up. And then,
but if they did it sober, that's not rock and roll, is it?
Yeah, I just don't think that's on the agenda for those boys, are they? It's too deep in their DNA. And then, listen, what would it be like to go as a punter? I don't know. I'm really happy with my memories of seeing Oasis.